Hey there, Goa fans. This is Mark, DJ Solitaire, here with episode 113 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly series in which I present in every episode one of my favorite tracks from the 1990s Goa Trance psychedelic dance movement. So, today, for episode 113, we are still in the autumn 97 through to the summer of 98. This is the first time featuring this project with this name, although I think all of these musicians have been featured before, certainly two of them in a different collaboration. And I was wondering what to put on today because we're on May 22nd is when we're streaming this. And May 23rd in 98 was my first DJ set in Tokyo using the name Solitaire. And I was looking through the track list of what I played there and thought, this might be a nice time to sort of align with what was going on in that season. And I came up with. There were several options, and I decided, oh yeah, I haven't featured these guys yet. And I actually mentioned last time both the event and the artists that were involved in this one. So nice little thread of continuity that I hadn't quite realized before. This is Cydonia. We're going to listen to Mind Hunter. In the autumn of 97, I was contracted by Dream Creation magazine to do an interview of Cydonia. So I was writing a number of features for the magazine, pro bono. It was all just fun, and was happy to be writing what I was writing and getting some good feedback from folks. And so I got a chance to visit the Cydonia guys, which was really cool. I knew this track Screaming Darkness before, which, unfortunately I didn't feature yet. Certainly worth it. So I was really happy to have an opportunity to go to the studio in SE23, that's Southeast District of London, 23. And I was unaware, by the way, before this, of this whole thing around the number 23 being a mystical number and so on. So, I went there completely not knowing it, recorded the whole interview on DAT. And every time we sort of hit a new question or a new point, I would just hit the track ID sort of function. It would keep recording, and you could push this button and it would just, create a new track for it. And when I finished the interview, Ian looked at the DAT player and saw that there were 23 tracks. He's like, oh my God, 23. And we're in SE 23. And I was like, what are you talking about? Anyway, suffice it to say that you'll see the number 23 quite a lot if you haven't already. I know it's some kind of thing. But regardless, I was in SE 23, had a chance to see the actual studio, and it being in the days when we didn't walk around with cameras everywhere and didn't have, digital cameras. I didn't take any photos. So there's no photos of us, no photos of the studio, nothing from the event. But they played me a number of tracks from their forthcoming album on the studio equipment, on the speakers and so on. And it was fantastic. Had a really good conversation, produced a full page for Dream Creations. A couple of things about, how I observe the music that I would rephrase now. But so at this December 27th event that I mentioned last time, when Dino and his DJ set played the Man with No Name remix of the Infernal Machines, The Loin King, they had done, as I mentioned, a Cydonia set before that. And Dino came up to me when he saw me and very enthusiastically thanked me for the publication. The Dream Creation issue it was the December-January issue, so it had just come out, and he was really happy with it. And overall, so am I. Again, my musical observations, I just didn't quite have the language and my memory also for exactly what I listened to as we listened to all of these tracks, and I didn't get copies because that was the way it was. So in any case, so I was just going by what I remembered hearing. That said, this arrived in the mail as part of that amazing care package that I got in February 98, just before I left London to go to Vancouver for a few weeks and then move to Tokyo uh, in the spring equinox of 1998. So, but that live set at Tyson Street, I was there for that, and I took a whole lot of photos. At least I had my camera there. Unfortunately, I mean, there was a lot of the smoke machine was working overtime, so a lot of the photos are pretty hazy, as was most of my memory of the night, except of course for that Man with No Name remix and a couple of other things that Dino did in his DJ set. But this track is a corker, and I did play it in that Tokyo set on May 23rd, 98. It's a real great one. It's really got that combination of deep, dark, introspective, and also expansive and uplifting. So, this is where I think the qualities of, dark music or night music and day music and all of these things, I think it can. What's unfortunate nowadays is things are this or that and not both. And as I've named before, in this musical scene, a lot of the music evokes a range of emotions, and that's one of the richnesses of it. And I think it's partly that major minor chord variation and just the whole range of experiences and ways of interacting with music that we're able to have. So I loved the track, of course, as soon as I heard it in the studio and then on the single. And it's great, because again, it's dark and uplifting. And I think we really need to remember that at nighttime, that there's still that celebratory energy that we can have. We can still be exploring our consciousness and going into deep recesses of our consciousness and so on, while also being, dancing through the challenges and celebrating being alive and listening to this amazing music while we move our biological forms. So, without further ado, I think I'll just actually I should mention the musicians, right? So Dino Saris, of course, phenomenal DJ, very early in Goa, along with his buddy Steve Ronan. And then Ian Rive, sorry, buddy, he's a good friend, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. He was in Universal Sound, phenomenal project. There's one track I really need to feature, at least in the series. And he was also working with Sepsis. There's a track there that'll be featuring in this season, and was also working with Cydonia. So the three of them in this really pivotal project at this pivotal stage, coming out with their album on Blue Room later that year. The single was also delayed. It was due out, I think, in February 98. I think it came out later. I remember not seeing it in the shops for a little while. And then the album was also later that year. But in any case, I wish I could remember the name of that wonderful fellow from Blue Room who sent me that super care package. I just treasure everything that came in it. And it's just really great to be able to feature this phenomenal, pivotal track. So let's listen now to Sidonia's masterpiece, Mind Hunter. Mysterious, dark, broody beginning. It's atmospheric, so you can sort of hear that something wicked this way comes kind of energy. And you're going to hear things just, again, there's more of that mysterious, what's lurking in the darkness kind of atmosphere. And then that provides a really great opportunity for mixing. And I just love the way this voice just sneaks in. And the kick does as well now. Hi-hats. Anticipatory bass line. More hi-hats. Notice the rhythm. Then that riff just sort of gets phased in and out. Really simple, but really catchy. Another catchy riff that's related to that one we were just listening to. And then so we've got two elements. We've got those notes that are in there, and then that screaming sound. Dramatic. Hear the doubling up of some of those riffs. Right, so there's this real opening that comes from the shaping of that riff. Then, deceptively cheery and bouncy here. Right, so it's got that uplifting nature just by virtue of the shaping, and then just those light percussive elements going on in the background. Oh, not there. And again, a bit of a call and answer between all of these different pieces. It's interesting, right? Because you know these voices are all going to be coming back and you don't know when, so that's kind of some of what keeps you in suspense. There we go. Then it's going to be a great little shift here. Some of this pitch melting. So everything is kind of melting the pitch in all of these different voices, so it can really throw you off. It's brilliantly achieved. Then again, that uplifting, pattern, and with that bounce, again, it adds that, that buoyancy, adds that uplifting quality, even though it's all really dark and introspective. And so this has got some of that sort of space opera, space symphony kind of drama quality to it. So really, I think again, is a really necessary flavor. And for me, this is kind of a 2 or 3 a.m. sort of, uplifting dark before we get into the darkest part of the night. And really super intergalactic space opera stuff there. Again, the way these chopped up voices start becoming more prominent. And then wonderful little change of scene and this drum roll. Brilliantly timed and coordinated. Chord changes here. The way that voice went into those chopping bits was pretty cool. Never know. Keep waiting for the scream to come back. ramping things up. Again, the kick, and then an explosion. Notice the chopped up bits here. The way it's syncopated. And that riff that's been present throughout. And those chopped up voices. Listen to the way those two are playing together. There's, you know, this both this exclamatory, but also kind of this inquisitive nature at this point. Gonna start unwinding. Beautiful synth sounds here if you listen to the voicing. So starting to unwind now. The rhythm of that. Fades out. Oof, what a stormer. I mean, that's really the only word for it, right? That was one of the popular nouns to describe a track like this that feels like a storm, right? Like it's really full power, and it's just this force of nature that's, you know, really pushing through. Just explosive, ecstatic, introspective, celebratory. There's that word again. And just the whole blend. And that's, again, what is so great about, I think, the music in our scene when it's, you know, well done like this, and the tracks that I've been featuring. And what varies from a whole lot of music that just tries to communicate one mood. This goes much, much deeper. And it's really just fantastic stuff. So this was really, really key, right? And their sound, you know, in that interview, Dino mentioned that, you know, they didn't want to be a year or two down the road just writing the same kind of music that they were already writing. They really wanted to evolve. And, you know, this was a key time in the evolution of the music, as we can notice, you know, from all these other artists who are evolving their sound and exploring different kinds of flavors and characteristics as the scene evolved, as what everybody was being influenced by was changing, as they were gaining more experience in the studio and coming up with new ideas. You know, once you're capable of doing more, you know, inspiration will strike in ways that enables you to express yourself in a way that you simply couldn't before. So hats off, gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic one. I will sign off here and leave you with the complete track without commentary so you can enjoy all of its multi-dimensional madness. I'm Mark, DJ Solitaire, wrapping up episode 113 and leaving you now with Cydonia's Mind Hunter.